And more recently, it seems that you've been making a historical shift and starting to look at the history of psychology, specifically some of the history of psychology within Canada, and then also psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
The Anna O and Bertha.
Yeah.
Pappenheim. Yeah.
Well, probably we're not talking present tense, because since I've retired, I haven't really done research. But at the end of my career in the 90s, yes, I got fascinated by history. I think if I had to start all over again, I might do my work in history instead of psychology. It really intrigued me, especially the Pappenheim work, but also with Karen Horney and Hollingworth. The kind of little mysteries, and then sometimes finding an answer to that mystery, or finding a source that told you something about these people probably knew each other. You know. And it was just, you know, I really liked it. You know, I really liked it, and I enjoyed doing it. I would have liked to pursue the Pappenheim stuff more, but there were two problems. One is one could not do that without German.
Yeah.
And although it could be a fantasy to learn German, I knew I wouldn't do it. Yeah. And the other was that her papers were largely destroyed in World War II. Not, actually by the Allied forces, not by the Nazis, surprisingly enough. She died in 1936, so she died before World War II, but when people clearly saw it coming. And so they took her papers and they were given to somebody in Dresden for safekeeping. And they were given to a Christian because they knew Jewish places would be endangered. And he kept them, but then they were destroyed in the bombing of Dresden. So there isn't much. I mean, I've read some biographies of Pappenheim that have been written by somebody who knew German, and I've forgotten her name, but there's a kind of, but it mostly is an analysis of her writings. And she destroyed some of her papers. And when she went back in the early 1930s to Vienna to visit her brother, she destroyed a lot of letters and stuff from the Anna O period. She she basically did not want people to know she was Anna O. And people in Frankfurt basically didn't know. Once she moved to Frankfurt, I think she told a couple of people, and that was it. So she outed by Jones in his biography of Freud. He put a footnote in and said, oh, by the way, Anna O is Bertha Pappenheim, without checking with anybody or anything, which didn't please her either.
Imagine not.
So she was quite a private person, and particularly about that. And it's hard to know. I mean, people have argued that, Breuer was that was an abusive situation. I think that would be overstating it, but I still came up with the idea that a lot of sheer determination of force pulled herself out of that kind of thing. And there is a fair amount of evidence that she may have had a particular kind of epilepsy that could have explained the symptoms as well as anything psychological. So, she really cut that part of her life off. Anyway, it was interesting. I love doing that paper. I think that's my best work.